Immune disease, and one of the things that I would say is build the immune system. What's really interesting is that anyone who has an autoimmune disease is almost always on immune suppressing drugs.
Wow.
Because that the doctors, because the concept is the immune system is out of control. What no one ever talks about is that there's something like 40 autoimmune diseases. Rheumatoid arthritis, alopecia, multiple sclerosis, Crohn's, Hashimoto's of the thyroid. So there's all kinds of autoimmune diseases. So the question that I always raise, if it's the immune system that's out of control, wouldn't you have all 40 diseases?
Is chronic fatigue?
No. Chronic fatigue is really, in my mind, a combination of hypoglycemia, exhaustion, and candida infestation. Okay? So going back to that, here's the best way to deal with Crohn's disease. An enema made from slippery elm, marshmallow, white oak, bayberry. Because what those will do, the slippery elm and marshmallow will soothe all irritation to the villi. The bayberry and white oak bark will reduce the inflammation. You could also insert probiotics, would also be helpful. And orally, and that's from an enema point of view, orally, strengthen the immune system, lots of probiotics, and that will get it under control. And should it be ulcerated, you can throw in some cayenne and you'll clear up the bleeding. Okay? And usually about 3 or 4 applications will really get that under control, and maybe another half a dozen, you'll have it licked altogether. Okay? Any other questions on any level? Because I have opinions about everything.
Since you have opinions about everything, do you have an opinion on autism and Mercury? You mentioned Mercury earlier.
Yeah. I mean, what they're discovering is that so much of autism is tied into the vaccinations which were built around Mercury. There is a way to displace Mercury in the body. I don't remember it, but I can tell you where to find it. There's a book written by Pavel Erol, and it's called How to Get Well. And I think he has something in there for the displacing of Mercury once it's in the body.
I-R-O-L, Pavel.
Pavo, and P-A-A-V-O, A-I-R-O-L-A. Okay, and I know it's still in print. He's long gone, and he was one of my early heroes. And the book is a wonderful piece of work. How to Get Well. Okay. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
So, my mother-in-law, Lauren's mom, has eye disease and has had it for quite a few years. What, 15 or 20? She got it fairly young. And it started out people saying macular degeneration, but what they've discovered is it's really immune disease where she's attacking her own retina. And they put her on regimens like, heavier doses of prednisone and things like that, that you look at and go, okay, your body's not asking for prednisone. So do you have any ideas as to what that, I don't know the name, what they diagnosed, I don't remember the name of it.
I would look at eyebright, I would look at vitamin B2, I would look at vitamin A as components for strengthening the eyes. I really don't, beyond that, don't know of anything. The other thing that I would say would be to have an understanding of what's really going on. Because anytime you're dealing with vision, and this, and I wear glasses too, so it's okay for me to say all this. Anytime we're in the vision, there's elements of fear at work. There are things we don't want to see. We don't want to look at ourselves, look at the future. We don't want to look what we're involved in, what's going on in the life around us. So you'd almost have to go back to whenever the disease started to manifest. Usually within, I always say, I think within 3 to 6 months prior to the manifestation, there was a transaction, there was an event, there was a situation, there was something transpired that set the ball rolling to facilitate the manifestation of the disease. So if we can go back to that point in time and understand what concepts were involved, where the doubt and fear stems from, And by examining that and understanding that, begin to get a handle on that energy, and then try to find the concept, the particular pattern of behavior that that concept uses to reinforce itself, then that would give a handle on beginning to get control of that energy. Regressing it, I don't know. Stopping the progression, I would believe so. But I think the real key, you know, it's like in the health food industry, everybody's looking for a magic bullet. And the only magic bullet I ever tell anybody exists is understanding. So if she can get to that point and go back in her history, then, and there may be, and I don't know if there are things that there are bouts that it gets worse. And if so, then that triggering device would give some insight as to what the fundamental issue is.
Michael, what about the symbology of backs? People today have chronic back pain.
Oh, it's going to get worse as the economy continues to. See, the economy is spiraling downward. Back problems, leg problems, all things, all aspects that deal with support are going to become an issue. Direction may also be an issue for people. And more often than not, it's going to affect the left side of the body versus the right, because the left is the material aspect, the right is the spiritual aspect.
And so the body,
back is support.
Support is your friend? I mean,
yes. You know, as I go to the Y, and there's an old man, and I look at him in my mind and my heart, I say, you know, life is really, I mean, it's just, the burden was too much. So back is support. This is where minerals come in, because minerals, what minerals do is light switches. Remember I said that they allow the muscles, and muscles are what support the back. Muscles is what gives us strength, and this is why the calcium and magnesium are so vital to that conductivity, because you need inspiration to manifest your strength.
I've never even heard of a multi-mineral. I mean,
Well,
have you? No. Well,
So, you know, if I look at our modern medicine, it looks like we've gotten very good at some of the diagnostic techniques, and we can sample your blood and say, here's what it's made up of and everything. But we're really lousy at prescribing and going after a root cause. We give you a pill. How do you combine those two together to get the true benefit out of each one of them?
Well, if you have an understanding of what the disease and the condition is based on the medical perspective, or let me rephrase that, based on a scientific perspective, then by taking that insight and understanding and then examining it from a nutritional science perspective, you can marry the two. But you have to take into consideration that it's not in the best interest of our economy to get people well. I forget what the pharmaceutical industry represents as far as a percentage of gross national product. So it's really not in the best interest, number one. Number two, because it's never approached from a nutritional point of view, and the American public is constantly conditioned and programmed to believe that spending money on vitamins is a waste of money, you're not going to have the two marry, so to speak, and come to a place of unity. So you have to take it upon yourself to do that.
Yeah, I guess my question was, how do we do that? Obviously the people in here came here because they know you, but also they're interested in that entire concept. And how do you best leverage that?
Well, if you know, there's a couple of different things. You know, the quickies are buy my book, but no, in reality, in reality, and there are a lot of fundamental great answers in the book from not only a nutritional but a symbolic, and you can take it even further. If you know you're dealing with a condition,